Guys, it's time to dig into both the Sledge and the Kraton EXB, and I got some calipers. Let's get to that table. The number one things we're going to check are the diffs. Very, very important. Now, this is my first EXB. On the PowerHobby, I have chewed through so many differential gears. Not the ring and pinions because I got the Vidavon bulkheads holding everything steady, but the center diff gears. Now, on the fire team, that's not an EXB as I understand it, and it's held up great. So yeah, but anyway, we're gonna open up these diffs, check fluid, get some measurements, see how these things stack up. Yeah, they are very different. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna start out with the front diffs. To get the diff cover off the Traxxas, there are 7 screws. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you got this one which comes up the bottom, right into the bottom of the case. As you can see right there. I took the bumper off because I wanted to check the hinge pins. The hinge pins on both the Sledge and the Kraton are both 4mm. I also wanted to see the hinge pin braces. The A hinge pin brace. They're both 5mm thick. They are slightly different in lengths and size on that. So, the Kraton, I believe, is the easier one to get to the diff with just 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. This bumper right here, this brace has to come off and then you can get it loose. But I took the bumper off because I wanted to see more of it. So now let's get the diffs out. There is no comparison between these diffs, guys. The Sledge just dwarfs the Kraton. It just dwarfs the Kraton bad. The outdrives, much bigger on the Sledge. Kraton is really kind of small, in all honesty. Now, as far as the ring gears go, obviously the Sledge is just a monster as compared. I do believe, though, that the Kraton is the better quality gear in materials, but the beef of the Sledge, that just that gets the win here. Sledge ring gear diameter 47mm. Yeah, beef. The Kraton EXB 38. Wow. The EXB certainly has more grease on it, that's for sure. Let's open these things up. Let's pop these open and see what's inside. There's the Traxxas. Get the Kraton open. Yes, I kind of had to crack these a little bit before making this particular clip. Getting this one-handed is kind of a challenge here. There we go. All right, so now that I've got both of these opened up, let's dig into them a little bit further. Looking at the ring gears, the Traxxas outdrive, the shaft is actually 7mm with a 2.5mm pin. The Kraton is a 6mm with a 2.5mm pin. Look at this teeth, the 4 teeth on the Traxxas gear. That physically connects to the diff cup. The Kraton does not have that. So therefore the bolts are the only thing taking the shear and all that. Now there is some friction that holds this stuff in place as well, but yeah, I definitely prefer the Traxxas diffs. They are way beefier. Looking at the oils in the diffs, the Kraton seems to have a better fill on the diff than the Traxxas does. Traxxas is just so much bigger in there. That is beautiful to see. Now the Kraton also has the limited slip thing right there as well. So yeah, very different. The pinion gear in the Traxxas, they say this is a good hardened steel pinion gear, and they did have to upgrade that to make everything work. I have never broken a pinion gear on an Arrma, so I've got to assume this is a good quality pinion gear right here. Hinge pin B, or the rear one on the front of the Kraton, is plastic. You can see that little shave right there that I did with the X-Acto knife. Hinge pin B on the Traxxas is metal. Fronts are back together, and since the Traxxas needed a little bit of oil in it, I added some Corley 250K to that one. The EXB looked okay to me. Up next are the center diffs, and the Traxxas is about to come out. To get to the center diff on the Traxxas, super quick and easy. The T-bar comes out for clearance. This is a solid piece, guys. Solid. That is super beef. Love that. This little cover comes off nice and easy. Just 6 bolts. And the whole thing is ready to come right out. Look at that. Getting to the center diff on the Kraton's a little bit more involved. Got to take this big bar right here loose by taking this fender to get it out of the way so you can get to that bolt. Then you got 4 bolts and pulls that up right there. So yeah, you got those pieces that you have to slide out with that. They're just held in with like a body clip. So not all that bad really, just a little bit more involved. Apparently, okay, there it is. All right, center diff is out. The center diffs are comparable on this side right here. Traxxas has the bigger bearing, and the out drives, the cups right here, actually are the same size. On this side, we can see a little bit of a difference. Also, the direction of the Traxxas. Wonder if that's for oil flow. Either way, larger bearing on the Traxxas, of course, and let's take these things apart. Got some differences inside. Now, the Traxxas on the left has a 7mm shaft on the outdrive. The Kraton, 6mm. Yeah, that's a pretty good difference there. The Traxxas has 20 million in it. 20 million diff oil. That's basically like almost putty, but not quite. The Kraton has something equally just as thick. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm not taking that apart because we've seen what we need to see right here. I do have a little bit of Traxxas 20 million, and from the reports and from what I'm seeing, I need to add just a little bit. Look at that stuff. That is diff fluid for the Traxxas. Holy moly. God, I left a fingerprint on that. Before I close it back up, I want to show you guys one more time. Look at the little teeth on the side of that ring gear. That way it physically holds in the diff cup. After seeing these two opened up, even though they have the same size out drives on the outside, the Sledge has a 7mm shaft on that out drive, which is a lot better than the 6mm. I've broken a bunch of pins on the Arrma Mojave that I've got. So yeah, the 7mm is a big thing really. And as far as looking inside, Traxxas is just way out beefing this EXB. I mean, really. Center diffs are in, now it's time to get to the back. Now the rear diffs are going to be the same as the front diffs, so all we're going to look at is what it takes to get to the diffs. Getting to the rear diff on the Traxxas, 7 bolts, it's out. Simple as that. Getting into the back end of the Kraton was a little more time consuming. The wing mount kind of got in the way. Take the sway bars loose, and here we go. So not that bad. I decided to check the C and D hinge pin braces on the rear, and they do have metal in them, so that's a good thing. We're going to look at the wheel bearings. I'm expecting Traxxas to have the larger wheel bearings. And also, I did check, I've got to put some O-rings in the rear axle. It is missing them just like most every other one around here. Starting with the axle pins, I had to use a little bit of heat on the Arrma to get that one out. Traxxas pin is a 3mm size, and the Arrma is a 2.5mm. On the rear axle shafts, Traxxas has the beef 3.5mm pin versus a 3mm pin. On the diff side of these axles, well, Traxxas has so much more beef right there. Arrma, man, they kind of shrink it down to about 1/10 size on that. This is interesting. The Arrma outside bearing and the Traxxas outside bearing are the same size. The Traxxas inside bearing sits right here. The bearing for the Arrma, right here. Now, if you look at leverages and loads, the Arrma has a huge advantage right here. I mean, the horizontal separation, the leverages, this is a much stronger setup than what the Traxxas is. Now, this bearing that Traxxas used, I believe is physically stronger than this bearing. However, I got to give the win on the axle shaft and hub assembly. Well, at least the axle shafts for sure, to Arrma. The front of the Traxxas is the same as the back. And now on the knuckle, They do have some nut inserts, some steel nut inserts, so you can really tighten these things down. That's nice to see. The Kraton is going to be the same way as it is on the back of that as well. And obviously we've got a pillow ball here and a normal kingpin style right here. You know, pros and cons to both of them. Well guys, I gotta tell you, that Sledge, it's a beast. The differentials were just way better in the Sledge. Way better. The outdrives, so much more beef. I was surprised to see the same size inner drive shafts between the two, but the center differential, you know, that thing, it's awesome. It's beef. No, wheel hexes on this. I've seen some of those strip out inside of that hex, so I've actually ordered some wider hexes for this before I even drive it. I don't want to take a risk on that. The bearings and the hubs, I prefer this setup over what's on the Sledge, just because it's got more horizontal separation, because leverages, you know. Yeah, Kraton's got that. Although I do like the hubs of the Sledge. I keep trying to call it a Slash, but regardless, both trucks are pretty darn good, but that one gets it pretty easy. Handling, driving might be a different story because the Kraton's lighter than this one. Yeah, we'll just have to see how it all works out. Anyway, guys, hopefully you liked the video. Hopefully you liked the in-depth review on this, the diffs, all that stuff. Hopefully you guys like all that. Very technical and very telling this video is. Check that description. Use those links. I've got links for both trucks if I can find them at this point in time. They are down there. That helps out the channel, the affiliate links. So guys, check that description. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that button, ring that bell, and thank you all for watching. If you're still watching, you are top shelf. You are the cream of the crop, the pick of the litter. You are phenomenal. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. Now, down below, there are links for the products you see, also for channel memberships. If you guys want to be a part, channel members get early viewing on pretty much everything that I can. So, guys, check that description. There's a lot of info down there. Thank you all for watching.